You think the worst pain is being abandoned by your children when you're sick. No, the real pain is when the very children you raised with your tears stand in front of you. Not to help, not to hold you, but to strip away everything you once called family. But what my children don't know is this: I've already prepared a turning point in my life, something that will leave them unable to lift their heads in shame. Before I continue this story, if any part of it feels familiar, leave a comment. Who knows, maybe my story was once yours too. I never thought I'd tell this story, but maybe, if I don't let it out, it'll bury me before the grave ever does. I'm 61 this year. Been living in the same worn-down farmhouse in rural Vermont for the past 28 years. It's the kind of place where you can still hear crickets in the summer and your neighbor's dog in the winter. Life out here doesn't scream, it hums, quietly, like an old song you used to know by heart but now only recognize the tune. My name's Patricia Smith, though most just call me Pat. Once upon a time, I was a wife. Bill was his name. Big hands, bigger laugh. Died too young, hit by a drunk driver on Route 5 when I was 33. He was just heading back from fixing Mr. Langley's roof. That man never did say no to someone who needed help, even if it meant he didn't get paid. After Bill died, I didn't have time to cry long. Alexander was 9, and Claire was only 5. I remember sitting at the kitchen table the night after the funeral, staring at the sink full of dishes, thinking, if I break now, who's gonna feed Emsa? I didn't break. Not then. I worked full-time as a school accountant, and cleaned the local bookstore on weekends. Numbers were the easy part. Neat little lines that made sense, never talked back, never left toys on the stairs. Raising kids, though, that was a different kind of math. One that never added up. But I did my best. I clipped coupons like it was a religion. Birthday cakes came from scratch. Boxed mix if I had a good coupon, flour and sugar if I didn't. Christmas gifts were often from Goodwill, wrapped in love and a bit of hope that they wouldn't notice. Still, our house had laughter. We made forts with old quilts, and I read bedtime stories till my voice cracked. Alexander always wanted dragons. Claire liked princesses who saved themselves. I taught them both how to ride bikes on the gravel road out front, even though scraped knees made her swear she'd rather walk forever. Then Lena came along, Alexander's daughter. Her mama, Bethany, left when she was just a baby, said she wasn't cut out to be a mom. I didn't judge her then, and I won't now. Life kicks people differently. Lena's been with me more than she's been with Alex. He tries, God knows he does, but between his job as a delivery driver and the mess of things he carries inside, he's always halfway in, halfway out. So I stepped in, again, like I always do. I taught Lena to spell apple and yellow. I kissed the top of her head when she had nightmares. I rubbed Vicks on her chest when her lungs got tight. She calls me Granny but says it like sunrise, soft and warm and every day. There were nights I'd watch her sleep, hand tucked under her cheek just like Claire used to do, and think, maybe this is why I'm still standing. Maybe I was meant to be the net under all their falls. But I won't lie, some nights are hard. Some mornings, I sit on the porch with my hands wrapped around my chipped coffee mug and wonder if anyone sees me anymore. Really sees me, not just the meals cooked or the socks folded or the stories told, but me, the woman who used to dance barefoot in the kitchen when Bill played his old records. I used to think that if you loved hard enough, loud enough, long enough, people would stay, that they'd remember, that they'd choose you back. But love isn't a rope. It doesn't tie anyone down. It's not a lock. It's a door that stays open, even when they walk away. And sometimes, they do. They leave without warning. Or worse, they stay, but they stop looking at you. You become furniture, background, a given, the hands that make dinner, the voice that reminds them to bring a jacket. When Claire left for college, she barely looked back. I was proud, don't get me wrong. But I also remember folding her laundry that last summer and smelling the faint scent of her shampoo and thinking, this is the last time she ever need me like this. And I was right. She got a job in Boston, then a fiancé, then a life that didn't have much room for a tired woman in flannel pajamas and orthopedic shoes. I didn't say anything. That's the thing about being the strong one. People don't ask how you're doing. They assume, and you don't want to disappoint them. So you smile and say, I'm fine. And sometimes you even believe it. But Lena sees me. Still. Even when her daddy's running late and her mama forgets to call on her birthday, I'm here. And to her, that matters. The other day, she said, "Granny, you've got magic hands." I laughed. "Why's that?" And she said, "Because they never stop, and they always fix things." Maybe that's all I've ever been. A pair of hands that kept moving. For Bill, for my kids, for Lena. But I'm starting to wonder now, when do the hands get to rest? Because love, it seems, is a job without retirement. And I'm so damn tired. The stroke hit on a Tuesday in late September, the kind of bright Vermont morning when the maples looked like they've caught fire. I was rinsing breakfast dishes when my right arm went slack and the plate shattered in the sink. Only lasted a minute, but it felt like God pulled the plug on half my body just to remind me who's boss. At the hospital, Dr. Patel called it a minor ischemic event. Minor, my foot? When your own tongue won't find the word fork and your heartbeat sounds like sneakers in a dryer, nothing feels minor. He clicked his pen, leaned forward, and said, "Mrs. Smith, people bounce back from things like this all the time, but you should get your affairs in order. No one ever regrets preparing early. That's doctor language for write the will before the next lightning strike." So, the following Friday, I stuffed my pill organizer into my purse and caught the county boss into town. James Wright's office sits over the hardware store, same creaky stairs where Bill and I once lugged up a busted snowblower for him to inspect. Jim's older now, thicker glasses, slower smile, but he still greets me like the prom queen I never was. We sat in his paneled office that smells of pine cleaner and stale cigars. I laid out what I wanted, plain as bread, half of everything: house, savings, the beat-up Ford Escape. To Lena, she's the one who tucks a blanket around my knees when my joints howl, the one who reminds me, "Granny, did you take the blue pill or the white one?" A quarter to Alexander, he's my firstborn, and though he shows up mostly when the transmission's knocking, blood is blood. A quarter to Claire. She calls from Boston on speakerphone while stirring vegan stew, and I still taste her childhood in every love you. Mama Jim raised an eyebrow but kept his lawyer face on. "You're sure grandchildren usually come after children?" I nodded. "Lena keeps my heart beating. She deserves it." The paperwork took an hour. Jim clicked the final signature line, slid the papers under my hand, and I signed with a blue pen that bled a little like honesty. He locked the will in his metal cabinet, the thunk sounding like a period at the end of a long sentence. 2 weeks later, Alexander swung by to drop off Lena after her dentist appointment. Claire happened to FaceTime him, and they ended up on the porch, thinking I was upstairs napping. I was actually kneeling under the kitchen sink, wrestling a leaky U-pipe, my phone flashlight wedged between my teeth. Their voices drifted through the screen door. "Alexander, Mom's losing it. 50% to Lena. She's 14. For God's sake, Claire, you're telling me we need to fix this before she actually croaks, and we're stuck splitting pennies with the kid. Alexander, maybe we convince her to rewrite it. Play the 'we just want what's fair' card, Claire, or find a way to declare her incompetent." One trip to the neurologist, Alex. One MRI. The wrench slipped from my hand and clanged against the pipe. They went quiet. I stayed squatted behind the cabinet door, clutching an empty water bottle, knuckles white, heart thudding like a bass drum in my ears. The chill that crawled over me wasn't from October air seeping through the floorboards. It came from a colder place, right up out of my own bones, out of 40+ years of mother love suddenly tipped on its head. When they left, I moved through the house like someone else, fed the cat, folded towels that still smelled of lavender. I kept touching ordinary things: a spoon, Bill's old flannel, Lena's pencil case, trying to anchor myself to the life I thought I understood. That night, Lena curled beside me on the couch, popping popcorn and quizzing me on 80s song lyrics for her music class. I laughed in the right places, but there was a draft in my chest, an open window I couldn't shut. Every "Granny, you're the best" felt like a stitch tearing loose. I lay awake long after she drifted off, tracing the ceiling's faint moonshadow. Questions crowded my skull. Had I loved them wrong? Too much? Too softly? I thought of Alexander's colicky nights, Claire's science fair volcano, the way both kids clung to me at Bill's funeral like life preservers. Those memories felt solid yesterday. Tonight they rattled like glass ornaments in a moving truck. The next morning, I brewed coffee strong enough to prop up a dying mule. I expected Alexander to show, maybe armed with charm and concern, ready to steer me back to fair. But he just texted, "Works crazy, rain check." Claire emailed links to neurologists just in case. I answered neither. Instead, I drove us to the farmer's market. Lena and I sampled maple fudge, watched a fiddler saw out bluegrass beside the cider press. She snapped Polaroids of scarecrow displays, insisting on one of me holding a pumpkin. Smile, Granny, you look fierce. I tried. Inside, though, a hard seed was growing. Something like granite, something like grief, turned sideways into anger. That evening, I opened Bill's cedar chest. Under baseball cards and love letters lay the spiral notebook where I once tracked every household penny after he died. Back then, numbers gave me control. Now they gave me clarity. I crunched the math. Again, mortgage nearly paid, savings modest but tidy, a house worth more than its peeling paint suggests. Enough to tempt, apparently. I closed the book and sat very still, listening to my heartbeat count off seconds. Looped up time, like money, keeps moving whether you're ready or not. Part of me wanted to drive straight back to Jim's office, yank the will, and leave everything to the library cat if I damn well pleased. But another voice, Bill's, maybe, said, wait, let them show who they are. So I waited. Days passed. Alexander's calls came cheap and sugary. How you feeling, Ma? Need anything? Claire sent care packages, turmeric tea, brain health vitamins. None of it rang true anymore. I kept a ledger in my head, weighing every word against that phone call knife. One dawn. Frost etched the windows like spiderwebs. My knees ached climbing out of bed. I shuffled to Lena's room. She was splayed sideways, drooling on her history book. I brushed hair from her forehead and felt something loosen. A knot I'd been holding since the kitchen sink. This child has never asked for a dime, I thought. All she's done is love me. Bafta, I decided then. The will stays stone-carved. If my own blood can't swallow a smaller slice in gratitude for years of casseroles and bailouts, that's their cross to drag. I didn't announce it. I did what women like me have always done. I carried on, packed Lena's lunch, balanced the checkbook, showed up at church bake sales. But inside, a quiet revolt bloomed. Alexander and Claire might orchestrate neurologists and legal loopholes. I countered with daily Sudoku and memory apps, sharpening my mind like a blade. Let them come. I'm writing this tonight on the porch, breath fogging in the crisp air. The barn owl hoots, and somewhere down the hill a coyote answers. Lena's inside, humming while she paints her nails black. My hands tremble, but the pen still moves. I once believed love wasn't a rope, but maybe it can be a shield. One I forged myself, hammered on the anvil of grief and single mama grit. I don't know what battle's coming, only that I won't meet it kneeling. If my children look at me now and see a stumbling block instead of the bridge that carried them, that's their blindness, not my failure. My eyes, though dimmer, still see clear. A will is just paper, but resolve, that lives in the marrow, and mine, God help me, has never been stronger. It started with the silence. Alexander used to barrel through the front door without knocking, hollering, "Mom, you got coffee." Claire always texted me a dozen tiny updates, new shoes, new soup recipe, new scratch on her Camry. Now weeks slipped by before my phone lit up, and even then the messages felt like questionnaires you fill out at the DMV. How's your memory lately, Ma? Still remembering the year? Did Dr. Patel say anything about your mental capacity? Like I was a leaking battery. I tried brushing it off, chalked it up to busy lives, grown-up schedules, but the chill grew thicker than January. Ice on the pond behind the barn. The mailman started delivering more bills than letters, and the house sang with quiet instead of conversation. One Thursday afternoon, Alexander showed up just to check on things. His eyes darted around the living room like a real estate agent. He asked if I needed help paying bills, if I'd considered letting him set up online banking so nothing gets, mixed up. I smiled, thanked him, and reminded him I've balanced budgets since he was in diapers. He kissed my cheek, but his lips felt cautious, as if afraid I'd crack. Claire's visits were rarer. She'd breeze in wearing city perfume, survey the kitchen, then tilt her head in gentle judgment. "Mom, are you sure you remembered to turn off the stove earlier? Smells like gas." I'd point out the digital display, off in bright red. She'd hum, unconvinced. The real gut punch came 3 Saturdays ago. Lena had taken the late bus from Boston, eager to cook me her first attempt at chicken pot pie from scratch. The girl lugged groceries, set music playing soft, shooed me to the armchair. "Rest, Granny," she said. "Chef's orders." I dozed to the hum of her chopping celery, the whiff of butter and thyme drifting through the house. When I shuffled to the pantry for dessert plates, I noticed my blue enamel stockpot was missing. In its place sat a sleek sous vide gadget, still wrapped in plastic. I hadn't bought it. Neither had Lena. The next morning, rifling through my bedroom closet for a cardigan, I discovered my late mother's quilt was gone. My Sunday dress shoes too. A single bottle of Pinot Noir, pricey boutique label, stood on the shelf where the quilt used to be, like a stranger claiming squatter's rights. I checked the trash in the garage. Beneath pizza boxes and coffee grounds lay the quilt, crumpled, smelling faintly of lavender and landfill. I pulled it out, shook it free, felt something in my chest split. This quilt had crossed the country tucked around my mother's legs in 1957. It had held babies. It had caught tears. That night I couldn't swallow dinner. Lena saw my clenched jaw, my knuckles white as bone china. "Granny, talk to me," she said, voice barely above a whisper. I told her about the stockpot, the quilt, the bottle. I didn't mention how my toothbrush felt damp earlier, as if someone had tested it, decided against it, put it back. I didn't say how the family photos on the mantel had been rearranged. Bill's portrait nudged behind a vase like an afterthought. Lena's eyes filled, dark and fierce. "I'll handle it," she vowed, squeezing my hand. But she was 19, bright, brilliant, still learning how hard the world's corners really are. The following Wednesday, Alexander texted, "Coming by with a realtor friend. Just want a quick appraisal, in case taxes spike next year." My pulse drummed. I typed no, erased it, typed sure, erased it again. Finally, I set the phone face down and walked outside. Snowflakes the size of quarters drifted from a pewter sky. The barn roof wore a flawless white blanket. I breathed in cold so sharp it stung my lungs, stared at the house bill, and I painted together the summer Lena was born. Clapboard, crooked porch swing, heart carved into the railing, M+B 93. Every inch carried our fingerprints. Losing square footage felt like losing pieces of him. Inside, dust motes floated in rays of low afternoon sun, making the living room look holy and abandoned all at once. I ran a hand along the back of the couch, half expecting it to pass straight through, because that's how I felt, thin as breath, unseen. Later that evening, Lena heated leftover pie while I sorted laundry. One of my sweaters, forest green wool, was missing. I pictured Claire eyeing it once, saying green made her look professorial. I folded an empty space where it should have gone and felt a tremor start in my jaw. That tremor followed me around for days. I'd pour coffee and my hand would shiver just enough to splash. I wasn't cold. I was eroding, grain by grain. And nobody but Lena noticed. She started leaving sticky notes on the fridge. "Hydrate. Blood pressure pills at 8. You matter." Friday night, as ice pellets pinged the windows, Alexander called, straight to the point. "Mom, Claire and I are worried. The house is big. Too much for you. The stairs. Dangerous if you faint. Maybe think about assisted living. I found brochures." His tone was honey over steel. I held the phone away, stared at my reflection in the dark glass of the window. Wrinkles, silver hair escaping. Its clip eyes, still bright, still alive. "Son," I said, voice steady, "I survived blizzards, single parenting, and losing your father. I can survive stairs." He sighed, a long, theatrical exhale. "We're just being practical." "Practical's fine," I answered, "but don't confuse it with kind." I ended the call before he could reply. That night I lay awake, quilt pulled to my chin. The house creaked the way old houses do. Water pipes expanding, timbers settling, but each groan felt personal, like the house mourning its own fading heart. Memories flickered, Bill whistling while sanding the porch rail, Claire learning to waltz on the kitchen tiles, Alexander draping Christmas lights along the eaves. Those echoes still lived here. I still lived here. Yet I felt myself shrinking, turning translucent in the rooms I cleaned, the walls I painted, the life I whispered into the dark, "I'm still here." Said it again, louder. "I'm still here." The words bounced off the plaster, thin but unbroken. Down the hall, Lena stirred. Footsteps padded closer, blanket trailing. She slipped into my bed without a word, curled against my back like when she was 5, afraid of thunderstorms. Her hand found mine under the covers, squeezed 3 times, our secret code for "I love you." For the first time in weeks, Warmth seeped into the hollow spaces inside me. I might be turning invisible to some, but to the one person whose eyes still saw, I was as solid as ever. And that, I realized, was enough light to keep the shadows at bay. For now. I always believed that when the moment came, that moment, the one when your life's hanging by a thread, your children would show up. Not because they're saints, but because you're their mother. Because somewhere under all the forgetting and selfishness and silence, blood would call to blood. Turns out, I was wrong. It happened on a Monday. Ordinary as dishwater. I was making lentil stew, humming Patsy Cline, when a stabbing pain hit low in my belly. Sharp, mean, like something had curled up and exploded inside me. I dropped the ladle, clutched the counter, tried to breathe. Couldn't. Lena wasn't home. She'd just left the night before, back to Boston for midterms. I didn't want to call an ambulance. It felt dramatic, wasteful. So I got in the car, drove myself to the ER, sweating and shaking, one hand gripping the wheel, the other pressed tight to my stomach like I was trying to hold myself together from the outside in. At the hospital, they rushed me in, ran scans, drew blood. The pain kept pounding like fists against a locked door. A doctor came in, serious eyes, clipboard in hand. Ovarian mass, he said. It's large. You're bleeding internally. We need to operate soon. He explained risks, bleeding, complications, my age. I nodded like I understood, but the room was tilting, my ears ringing. Then he said something that stopped the air in my lungs. We need a family member to sign surgical consent. Do you have anyone we can call? I thought, of course, my children. I dialed Alexander first, straight to voicemail. Then Claire. She answered, brisk, her voice half a world away. Mom, I'm in a meeting. Can this wait? No, I said quietly. I'm in the hospital. They need someone too. Look, she cut in. I'll try to call later. Okay, just do what the doctor says. Click. I sat there, phone in hand, heart thudding louder than any monitor. The nurse returned. I asked for the form. I'll sign it myself, I said. Ain't the first thing I've done alone? She didn't argue. Just handed me the clipboard. I scrawled my name in shaky letters, thinking, this might be the last thing I ever sign. They wheeled me in, bright lights, cold air, voices muffled behind masks. I remember the anesthesiologist asking me to count backward from 10. I barely made it to 7. When I woke up, it was dark. My throat burned, and something deep inside me ached, like my soul had been scooped out and stitched back together. A nurse stood beside me. You're out of surgery for hours. We removed the tumor. You'll need rest. I croaked out. Did anyone come? She paused. Your emergency contact didn't answer. Do you have other family? I closed my eyes. Only my granddaughter. But she's in class. Don't disturb her. She nodded gently. We'll keep an eye on you. That night, I lay still in the dim hospital room, wrapped in a paper-thin blanket. The ceiling was an endless white sheet above me, flat, empty, uncaring. I stared into it and whispered, who am I a mother to? I'd given birth twice, raised them with bare hands and coupons, patched knees and broken hearts, nursed fevers, fought with schools, stayed up through every thunderstorm and breakup, held them when Bill died, held myself up when they left. But when the knife came out and death pulled up a chair, neither of them came. And something inside me, some last, flickering candle of hope, blew out. I wasn't angry, not then, just hollow, like I was a house everyone used to live in but nobody wanted to come home to. If I had died on that table, the name Patricia Smith would have gone unspoken that day. My hand would have grown cold with no one to hold it. The nurse might have zipped me up like another anonymous ending, but I didn't die. No, I survived, and waking up alone showed me something more painful and more clear than any diagnosis. I was done waiting to be loved right. 2 days later, Lena burst into the room with a tote bag of apples and soup and panic. Granny, oh my God, why didn't you call? I smiled, weakly. You were in class, honey. I didn't want to worry you. Tears filled her eyes. Worry me. You're my whole damn world. That was the first time I cried. Not for the tumor, not for the scar, but for the way she looked at me, with real, raw love. No agenda, no math. She stayed 2 nights in that cramped chair, feeding me gelatin, brushing my hair, reading chapters of her anatomy textbook aloud. I would drift off to her whispering about muscle tissue and think, This is what devotion sounds like. Claire called once. Said she'd swing by when her schedule cleared. Alexander sent a thumbs up emoji. When I texted, "I'm out of surgery," that was it. When I got home, the house looked the same. The porch still creaked. My tea mug still sat on the counter. But something in me had shifted. I used to move through this place like a caretaker of memories. Now I moved like its owner. I folded away old guilt like winter blankets, took down the family photo wall in the hallway, left only pictures of Lena, Bill, and me. I boxed up a few keepsakes, labeled them not for the kids, but for donation, cleared space on my own damn shelves. Because surviving isn't just waking up, it's waking up to yourself. I'm no longer waiting for hands that don't reach for mine, no longer wondering if I'm crazy to expect kindness. I'm not. I'm still Patricia Smith. Still the girl who built a life from ashes. Still the woman who worked double shifts and read bedtime stories and stood through every storm. And if the only hands left to hold are my own and Lena's, well, that's still two more than some people ever get. And that, I've decided, is enough. After I came home from the hospital, sore and stitched but alive, I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of lukewarm tea and looked out the window at the maple tree. Bill planted the year Alexander was born. The branches were bare now, thin and brittle against the gray sky. Just like me, I thought. I wasn't angry. That's the part people don't understand. Anger burns hot and loud. What I felt was cold, clear, and final, like the moment the surgeon tells you it's time to cut. No turning back, no more waiting. So I picked up the phone and called James Wright, my husband's old friend, the lawyer who'd helped with my first will. He still remembered my voice. "James," I said, "we need to change the paperwork." He didn't ask why. He'd seen me through the loss of Bill, the raising of 2 kids on pennies and prayer, and the first cancer scare. He knew I wasn't the kind to act out of spite. We met 2 days later in his office above the hardware store, same as always. He slid the will across the desk. I crossed out Alexander's name, then Claire's. I rewrote it simply and clearly. Lena, full inheritance. House, savings, personal effects, all of it. James hesitated. "You're sure?" I looked him square in the eye. "This isn't revenge, it's clarity." He nodded. "Then let's make it official." He filed the paperwork while I sat there, watching snow start to fall out the window. It was the heavy kind. The kind that settles in quietly but changes the whole landscape by morning. That night, back home, I changed the locks on the front and back doors. The old keys, Claire had one, Alexander two, now useless. I slid the deadbolts and stood for a long while just listening to the silence in my house. It didn't echo anymore. It felt solid. Next, I took out my phone and blocked their numbers. No message, no warning, just silence. I didn't owe them anything else. Not after the hospital. Not after that cold room and the ceiling tiles. I stared into wondering if I'd die with no one there to say goodbye. This wasn't punishment. This was survival. No more waiting for a call that never came. No more defending my memory, my mind, my life's choices. No more justifying the kind of love that got me walked over. I didn't cry. Not even once. But the photos were the hard part. They hung all over the hallway. Snapshots of birthdays, graduations, holidays, Claire in her wedding dress, Alexander holding baby Lena, all of us smiling like we had forever ahead of us. I started at the end of the hallway and worked backward. I pulled each frame down, one by one, wiped the glass clean with the sleeve of my sweater, and stacked them gently on the dining room table. I opened the old wooden photo album Bill gave me for our 10th anniversary, the one with the velvet cover and gold-lined pages. I slid the pictures in carefully, like tucking memories to bed. The last photo I placed was from Claire's college graduation. She was beaming in her cap and gown, arms around me and Bill. Back then, I thought I'd done it right, that I'd given her the kind of mother she could always come back to. But that mother didn't exist for her anymore. I didn't either. When the frames were empty, the walls looked naked, I stared at them, half expecting the house to feel sadder. But strangely, it felt lighter. That hallway didn't belong to the past anymore. It belonged to me. That night, I made a pot of soup, carrot and ginger, Lena's favorite. She was due back from Boston the next day. I sat down at the table with my bowl, and for the first time in a long time, I ate slow. Not because I was tired, but because there was no rush to please, no one watching, no one judging, just me, the soup, and the sound of the wind pressing gently against the windows. I thought I might cry, but I didn't. My tears had dried up somewhere between the surgical table and the sound of Claire hanging up on me. This wasn't heartbreak. This was rebirth. And rebirth, I've learned, sometimes looks a lot like loss. Sometimes it feels like sealing a door, putting down the phone, packing away photos, but it's not bitterness. It's not drama. It's not a declaration of war. It's simply done. Done begging to be seen. Done trying to earn love that should have come freely. Done making room for people who only show up when there's something to take. I'm 61 years old. I've lived through death, debt, raising kids alone, and now, this strange kind of betrayal that doesn't leave bruises but hollows you out. But I'm still standing, and this time, I've cut the cord myself, not with scissors, but with truth. Not in rage, but with peace. And peace, I'm finding, makes a quiet kind of music, one that doesn't need applause to matter. Life after the new locks fell into a rhythm I almost liked. Mornings were oatmeal and the local radio. Afternoons a slow walk to the mailbox. Evenings a paperback and the ticking stove. It was quiet, yes, so quiet I could hear the snow settle on the roof, but my mind felt clear for the first time in years. Then James called, "Come in, Pat, today, if you can." His voice carried a weight that made my chest tighten. I drove through slush to town, parked beside the hardware store, and climbed those familiar wooden steps that always groan on the 9th riser. James met me at the door, spectacles low on his nose, papers clamped in one hand. "They filed for guardianship," he said before I'd even taken off my coat. "Claim you're incompetent, early dementia, unsafe with finances," the whole checklist. I sank into the client chair, Bill's old tool oil still haunting the upholstery, and tried to breathe. James laid out a folder. Inside were copies of the petition, Alexander's signature, Claire's neat cursive, fake doctor letters I'd never heard of, notes about me wandering and burning bills in the sink. I laughed once, sharp, surprised, because it felt like reading gossip about a stranger who wore my face. James pinched the bridge of his nose. "They want emergency powers to control medical decisions, money, the house. A judge could rubber stamp it if we don't counter fast." I swallowed. I thought cutting them off would end the grab. "Sometimes," he sighed, "it makes people grab harder." He slid a thumb drive across the desk. "But we have this." I frowned. "What is it?" "Evidence. From Lena." He plugged it into his laptop, turned the screen so I could see. Grainy footage filled the window. Alexander's living room camera, the one meant to watch the dog. My son paced in front of a leather sofa, phone pressed to his ear. Claire's voice came tinny through the speaker. "Alexander, Mom's ripe for guardianship. She's signing crazy documents, cutting us off. Classic incompetence. Claire, file it fast. Once we're co-guardians we can manage the estate, maybe sell before she tanks the market." Alexander laughs, threaten a psych evil. She crumbled. My stomach twisted as if the surgeon had reopened the incision. Their words were casual, practiced, like planning a yard sale. When the clip ended, James spoke gently. "Lena pulled the video off their Wi-Fi camera, plus chat logs from Claire bragging about taking back what's ours. She forwarded everything to me. I pictured my granddaughter, 18 months into pre-med, hunched over a dorm laptop at 2 a.m., fingers flying, face hard with purpose. Pride and sorrow crashed together inside me. James leaned forward. "With this, we can file a response, maybe even pursue fraud charges. But the court date is in 2 weeks. We'll need affidavits, a fresh cognitive exam, neighbors willing to testify you're competent." Competent, the word stuck like a pit in my throat. I was competent enough to raise those children, bury their father, pay every mortgage bill on time, competent enough to sign my own surgical consent when they wouldn't pick up the phone. Yet here we were. I asked quietly, "What happens if they win?" "You could lose control of your money, your medical choices, even the house. They'd decide where you live." Nursing home, I thought. Fluorescent lights, strangers in pastel scrubs, my quilt, boxed in some attic. I felt something in me, whatever mercy I had left, crack. I'd forgiven tantrums, lies, skipped calls, but plotting my disappearance, no, that bridge was ash now. I inhaled, lifted my chin, then we fight. The next days blurred into lists and proof. Lena drove up each weekend, hauling her anatomy books and a fierce resolve. She taped me doing the crossword in ink, balancing the checkbook, reciting the address of every neighbor on Old Maple Road. We visited Dr. Patel. He ran memory tests I aced without hesitation. He promised a letter, patient, fully oriented, cognitively intact. At night, Lena brewed chamomile and spread documents across the kitchen table. Granny, sign here, initial there. She handled me gently, but her eyes burned hotter than any mother lion I'd ever seen. Outside, winter gathered muscle, wind rattling the clapboards, moonlight skating over drifts. But inside, our little farmhouse felt unbreakable. 2 women, 2 generations, soldering their bond with legal pads and shared outrage. One evening, while Lena drafted a witness list, I opened the photo album I'd tucked away. I thought grief would roar back, but it was quiet, like looking at relics from another lifetime. I closed the cover, slid the album toward her. "These are for you," I said. "Someday, maybe you'll show your kids." She touched the velvet spine. "I'll keep them safe." The hearing arrived on a steel gray Tuesday, County Courthouse, Room 3B. I wore my best navy coat, the silver brooch Bill gave me for our 20th. Lena sat beside me, shoulders squared. Alexander and Claire were across the aisle with their attorney, designer suits, identical tight smiles. The judge, a sturdy woman with salt and pepper hair, reviewed the petition. "I see allegations of cognitive decline. Any evidence?" "There." Lawyer theatrically produced the fake doctor letters. The judge flipped through, frowned, asked for original records. There were none. James stood, calm as snowfall, and handed over Patel's report, my video doing crosswords, neighbors' affidavits, Lena's recordings. The courtroom speakers played my son's voice. "Once we're guardians, the house is ours." Claire's laugh followed, cold as broken glass. Alexander's face drained. Claire blinked fast, mouth a thin line. Their lawyer tried objecting, inadmissible, context unclear, but the judge silenced him. When the audio ended, the room was still. The judge removed her glasses. "Petition denied. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the state's attorney for investigation into fraud and elder exploitation." My children didn't look at me. They gathered their papers, eyes glued to the floor, and left like strangers after a funeral. I felt no triumph, just the settling of dust after a long collapse. Driving home, Lena hummed softly to the radio. Snow glittered under the headlights like bits of mirror. I rested my hand on hers. "You saved me," I said. She shook her head. "You saved yourself. I just showed the truth." We turned onto Old Maple Road. My house appeared ahead, porch light glowing warm against the night. Safe, for now. Ours. Inside, I hung my coat, set water to boil for tea. Lena curled on the couch, flipping through the quilt album, tracing faces with her fingertip. I stood in the doorway a long while, watching her, feeling the ache of loss and the weightless lift of letting go. Family, I realized, isn't blood. It's the hands that pull you back from the edge. And some edges, once seen, can never be forgiven. I poured 2 cups, carried them to the living room, and sat beside my granddaughter, my witness, my proof, my future. The storm outside thrashed the eaves, but inside, the kettle whistled a steady, contented note. For the first time since Bill died, that sound felt like peace. Tuesday, 10 a.m. sharp, the gravel drive crackled with tires. I watched through the lace curtain as Alexander's silver SUV stopped short of the porch steps. Claire slid out of the passenger seat in a camel coat that probably cost more than my mortgage ever did. Behind them ambled a third man, trim beard, slick briefcase, every inch the family law specialist their petitions kept bragging about. I opened the door before they could knock. "Come in," I said. My voice was steady. My pulse was a drum. The lawyer smiled like a waiter about to upsell dessert. "Mrs. Smith, we appreciate your time." A quick, amicable conversation. "Living room's this way." They followed me past the hall where the pictures used to hang. The air smelled of lemon polish and wood smoke. James Wright sat on the love seat, tie loosened, spectacles ready. Lena stood beside him, laptop open on the coffee table, thumb poised over the spacebar. No one spoke. The only sound was the clock over the mantel counting out judgment in slow, even clicks. Claire started first. "Of course she did, Mom. We think the family's gotten confused. There was that surgery scare, and everyone's emotions." Alexander cut in, waving a manila envelope. "We brought documents. If you just sign these, we can straighten the deed. Make sure taxes don't eat you alive." I told them to sit. They didn't. Predators rarely like lower ground. I stayed in my rocking chair, the same one I'd nursed them in. I folded my hands. James cleared his throat. Before any signing, my client would like everyone to listen to a short recording submitted into evidence last week. The briefcase lawyer frowned. This meeting isn't a court, James smiled. Consider it a courtesy preview. Lena tapped the spacebar. The laptop speakers crackled. Then my living room filled with my son's voice, smooth and certain. From that hidden dog dashcam. Alexander. Mom's ripe for guardianship. Once we're in control, the house is ours. Claire, file fast. Threaten a psych eval, she fold. The clip played only 60 seconds, but each syllable landed like a hammer. When it ended, the room held its breath. Claire's cheeks strained to paper. That's illegal surveillance, she snapped. James shrugged. Recorded on private property, where the camera was conspicuously installed. Perfectly lawful. Already accepted by Judge Steinberg last week. Docket number is in your mail. Alexander's eyes shifted to Lena, dark with betrayal. You did this to your own father. Lena met his stare, voice calm as winter dusk. I learned from you, Dad. Do what it takes to protect the family. Grandma is my family. The briefcase lawyer murmured something about misunderstandings and context, but the fight had already left his shoulders. He knew the tape was a coffin. I waited, wanted to see if either of my children would look at me, apologize, explain something. They didn't. Alexander's jaw flexed, pride choking any words that might have been human. Claire focused on a spot above my head, eyes glassy, as if studying cracks in the ceiling. I spoke softly. I'm not signing away my life. Not today. Not ever. You've made your position clear. Now hear mine. The locks are changed. The will is settled. The court has denied guardianship. You are guests here. Nothing more. Claire's lip trembled. Mom, this isn't what we wanted. Lena's laugh cut her off, short, bitter. It's exactly what you wanted. You just didn't expect to get caught. Alexander pointed at James. We can still contest. James nodded. You can try, but per Vermont statute, fraudulent petitions carry penalties. I've already filed for legal fees and damages. Silence again. The clock kept ticking. Somewhere in the vents, the furnace kicked on with a low, protective growl. At last, Claire spoke, barely above a whisper. Why would you do this, Mom? We're your children. I felt something inside me settle into place, like sliding a final drawer shut. Because motherhood isn't a lifetime permission slip to abuse, trust. I carried you 9 months. I carried you far longer after your father died. I'm done carrying the weight of your greed. No one shouted. No doors slammed. They simply gathered their coats and Loya and left. The SUV backed down the drive, brake lights flashing against the snowbank, then disappeared behind the pines. I listened until the road went still again. Lena closed the laptop, exhaled a breath she'd been holding for weeks, and asked if I wanted tea. I nodded, but first I just sat there, hands resting on the old armrests. I thought the worst pain was discovering my children could betray me. Turns out, the deeper cut was watching my granddaughter stand between right and wrong because her father wouldn't. When the kettle whistled, I rose. Each step across the rug felt strange, lighter, like walking on new legs. The living room looked the same worn couch, same crocheted pillows, but the air was different, cleared out. A storm had passed, and what remained was mine. In the kitchen, Lena slid a mug toward me, steam curled up, carrying the scent of chamomile and honey. Granny, she said, voice soft, are you okay? I wrapped both hands around the cup. The porcelain was warm, solid, real. I nodded. I am now, she smiled, small, relieved. Outside, snow began to fall again, gentle flakes drifting past the window, erasing the tire tracks on the drive. The world was rewriting its own page, clean and quiet. And for the first time in a long, long while, I let myself believe that the next chapter could start with peace. I signed the closing papers on a bright April morning, the kind where the air still nips but the birds have already decided it's spring. The realtor shook my hand, called me Ms. Smith, and slid the check across the table. I folded it into my purse like a pressed flower and walked out without looking back. The house was theirs now, the porch swing, the creaky ninth stair, the maple bill planted, all of it part of somebody else's future. I pointed my old Ford Escape east and drove until Vermont's mountains opened into New Hampshire's softer hills, just shy of the state forest. A side road wound around a clear, blue lake and ended at a cedar-shingled cabin no bigger than Bill's old workshop. 2 rooms, a wood stove, a dock out back. Perfect. The first week was nothing but unpacking. Not that I had much. 3 suitcases, 2 boxes of books, and a lazy tuxedo cat I picked up at the shelter on my way through Concord. The shelter worker asked for a name. I said Patricia, half joking, and the tag was printed before I could change my mind. So Patricia came home with me, blinking her yellow eyes like she already owned the place. By the second Monday, I'd learned the rhythm of the lake. Loons before dawn, fishermen at 6, silence at noon, kids cannonballing off the south dock after school. I bought lumber from the hardware store in town, built to raised beds, and tucked tomato seedlings under the soil. Early girls and beefsteaks, just like the ones my mother grew behind our Ohio duplex. Each evening I watered them with lake water and told them stories about Bill's laugh, Lena's stubborn braid, the day Alexander hit his first home run. The plants didn't care, but I did. The stories felt lighter outdoors. Lena called every night around 9. Her dorm roommate thought it was cute that she FaceTimed her grandma daily. I'd prop the phone on the windowsill so she could see the sunset smear pink over the water. She'd quiz me on medical terms, aneurysm, ischemia, metastasis, and I'd tell her how the cat chased a moth into the screen door. We never mentioned her father or aunt. That chapter was closed, its pages glued shut. The locals waved when they passed but didn't pry. At the farm stand the cashier rang me up as ma'am until the day I joked about being the mystery lady on Willow Cove. She squinted, thinking, then grinned. So you're the sweet cat lady. Word travels fast in small towns. A week later my mailbox wore a sticky note. Welcome, Ms. Patricia. Fresh eggs inside. No one asked for a birth certificate or a sad backstory. They just let me be. Saturdays became bread days. I mixed warm water, yeast, sugar, flour, a pinch of salt, and waited for the scent to bloom through the cabin. Kneading dough is holy work. Push, fold, turn, again. It reminds me that everything broken can come together if you give it time and heat. I'd slice the first loaf while it was still steaming, smear it with too much butter, and eat half of it on the porch with Patricia purring at my feet. I kept a journal, leather-bound, nothing fancy. Each entry started the same. Another day, alive. Then I'd list 3 things I noticed. Today's moon rippling in the lake, the way tomato leaves smell like pepper, the crack of ice shifting at dawn. It sounds small, but writing it down anchors the hours, keeps them from sliding into each other like wet cards. Summer drifted in quiet and slow. Fireflies replaced snowflakes. The gardens fattened. My arms grew freckled from all the sun. One evening the widower 2 cabins over stopped by with a broken outboard motor. We spent an hour elbow-deep in grease, traded recipes for blueberry buckle, and said goodnight without swapping last names. It felt perfect, 2 friendly ghosts passing in the dusk. I thought I might miss being mom or grandma. But titles are heavy when love turns conditional. Here, I'm just the woman on the lake who bakes bread and grows tomatoes and spoils her cat. Freedom tastes like well water and smells like pine sap on hot days. Of course, ghosts visit. I'll wake from a dream where Claire is 5 again, tugging my sleeve, or hear Alexander's boyish whoop in a loon's echo. The ache flares, sharp, then EBs. I breathe through it, like the physical therapist taught me after surgery. In 4-4, hold out for 6. The heart is a muscle. It learns. One crisp September dawn, my tomatoes finally blushed red. I carried the first ripe one to the dock, sliced it open with Bill's pocket knife, and ate it right there, juice dripping down my wrist. The lake was glass, the sky a high blue bowl, and in that moment I understood. I hadn't rebuilt a house. I'd rebuilt me, with salvaged beams of old patience, new planks of boundary, and nails forged from hard lessons, sturdy enough to stand through whatever winter shows up next. When Lena called that night, she said my face looked different, lighter. Somehow, must be lake air, I told her. But I knew better. It was the weight of unneeded names finally falling away. It was the sound of my own voice in the woods, unechoed, unjudged, and utterly mine. So if you ever paddle past Willow Cove and spot a gray-haired woman on the porch, flower on her cheek, tomato seedlings by the rail, cat curled like punctuation at her feet, wave. You won't know my real name, and that's all right. I've got plenty of names tucked in my past. For now, Patricia fits fine. It's short, sweet, and light enough to carry across the water without sinking. The call came just after lunch, while the cabin still smelled of rye bread cooling on the rack. "Patricia, it's Dorothy," my old neighbor from Vermont chirped through the receiver. "I've got news, though maybe it isn't the kind you want." I leaned my hip against the counter, watching Patricia the cat bat at a dust mote. "Shoot, Dorothy, I'm sturdy." She took a breath. "You're Claire. Well, she's on the front page of the North Harlow Times, indicted for skimming money off that Arts for Kids charity she runs. And Alexander, folks say his real estate flip went belly dash up, house foreclosed, wife gone. He's living in a friend's garage down in Texas." Outside loons called across the water. I tapped the rim of my mug and felt, for the first time, absolutely nothing. No bolt of shame, no stab of blame, just a hollow quiet, like the lake under winter ice. "Thanks for letting me know," I said. "You take care, Dorothy." We traded weather and garden updates, then hung up. Lena sat at the table, peeling apples for a crumble, curls falling over her brow. She looked up, waiting for the story. "Chamomile or jasmine?" I asked. She smiled, relieved maybe, and picked jasmine. I fetched the blue tin, set water to boil, and the conversation about indictments in garage apartments drifted out the open window with the steam. That night we ate crumble warm, cream melting in sweet rivers, Patricia begging for crumbs she'd never touch. After dishes, Lena curled into the quilt her great-grandmother stitched, phone dimmed, face lit by firelight. "Granny," she said, words slow, "does it hurt, knowing Dad and Aunt Claire called you Mom once, then left you standing alone?" I brushed a loose thread from the quilt's edge. "Honey, they never truly called me Mom. Not in the way that matters." I heard the word, sure, but the love I imagined behind it, I supplied that myself. "I've been talking to my own echo all these years." She reached for my hand. Her palm was warm, steady, mine didn't shake later. When the house had gone still except for the tick of the stove and Patricia's gentle snore, I sat at the writing desk by the window. The moon laid a silver road across the lake, and the trees swayed like they were agreeing with secrets only night knows. I opened a fresh sheet of stationery, cream white, faintly lined, and uncapped Bill's old fountain pen. The ink flowed smooth, unhurried, as if it, too, had nowhere to be. I wrote a single sentence. "I don't need anyone to feel sorry. I only know I no longer need them." No greeting, no signature, no address, just the truth in 14 words. I blew on the ink until it dried flat, folded the page once, and slid it into the back of my journal beside grocery lists and tomato sketches. Not a letter for mailing, just a mile marker on the map of my life. Morning came pink and breezy. I brewed coffee, fed Patricia, and stepped onto the dock with a piece of toast dripping butter. Across the cove, a squirrel scolded the world, and a fisherman's kayak cut a lazy V through the mist. Everything and everyone carried on, unaware that a woman named Patricia had finally laid a burden down. I am 61, owner of 2 raised beds, 1 cat, and a piece I never thought I'd taste. My phone holds blocked numbers, but my heart holds no tally marks. The children I birthed made choices. The woman I am made hers. Motherhood, it turns out, is a season, beautiful, brutal, but not everlasting. The leaves have fallen, the sap has pulled back, the tree still stands. Today I will transplant basil, call Lena at lunch, and maybe teach myself to whistle with 2 fingers the way Bill used to. If the wind carries my tune across the water, fine. If it falls at my feet, that's fine too. The echo is enough. I am, at last, simply Patricia, sometimes Patricia, keeper of bread and quiet mornings, student of the small and the honest, and in this gentle chapter, that is more than plenty. Dear friend, we've never met, yet I feel I know the shape of your nights, the quiet that rings louder than any argument, the ache that settles behind your ribs when a phone stays silent too long. I read a short post you left online, just a handful of words about kids who stop calling, and it felt like someone struck a tuning fork in my chest. So I'm writing from my cedar-scented cabin on a New Hampshire lake, mug of chamomile cooling beside me, cat dozing over the envelope. Maybe these pages will row across the dark water between us. I'll keep it plain. I spent most of my 61 years wearing the word mom like armor. It saw me through my husband's death, double shifts, and 2 children who needed more than I ever seemed to have. I gave them packed lunches, bailouts, and every last soft piece of myself. I believed love was a seed. Plant enough of it, and one day a bright field would bloom. Instead, my crop failed. When the first real storm hit, a mild stroke that shoved mortality in my face, my son and daughter treated me like cargo to be claimed. They forged notes, tried to seize my home, and left me alone on an operating table, with nothing but a heart monitor for company. The details are messy, but the thread is simple. The people I birthed chose greed over blood. I won't lie. There were nights I sobbed until dawn, blamed myself, begged God to roll the clock back. Then came the morning. I realized the begging voice in my head sounded nothing like the woman who once built a life from coupon books and duct tape. So I stood up. First I withdrew. I changed my will, my locks, and my phone number. I packed the family photos and let the walls breathe. Solitude grew heavy for about a week. After that, it felt like a sweater I finally stopped itching under. Next, I confronted Dot with help from my fierce granddaughter Lena and one scrappy country lawyer. We played their own recorded words against them. Courtrooms are ugly, but truth is bright. The judge tossed their guardianship suit like yesterday's. Male pride crumbled, consequences stuck. Then, I released. Home became a battlefield of memories, so I sold it. Bought this small place by the lake where nobody knows my history. Here I plant tomatoes, bake rye bread, and learn the names of clouds instead of waiting for apologies that will never come. Lena calls nightly, but she calls because she wants to, not because guilt tugs her sleeve. Some folks label what I did cutting ties. I call it darning my own skin. Motherhood is holy, but it isn't a contract that requires martyrdom. Loving grown children who weaponize that love is like pouring water into a cracked jar. No matter how much you give, the jar stays empty and your well runs dry. You asked the internet, am I wrong for feeling done? Friend, you are not wrong. You are tired, and tired is not the same as loveless. There is life after closing a door, and it doesn't look like victory laps or revenge plots. It looks like waking up to birds instead of dread. Brewing tea without rehearsing hard conversations. Discovering you can laugh, full belly, head thrown back laugh, at a squirrel stealing your tomatoes. Writing a line in your journal that says, I did enough, and now I choose myself. Some afternoons I still feel a tug, usually when the wind, in the pines, sounds like a child crying mom. On those days I sit on the dock, let the ache rise and fall like the ripples, and remind myself pain is a visitor, not a landlord. You may be standing at the threshold right now, hand on the knob, heart hammering. If you step away, the world will keep spinning, your worth intact, your story unfinished. The sun will still set in rose and gold, bread will still rise, you will still be somebody's favorite laugh, even if that somebody is the woman staring back from your mirror. I'm not here to preach rebellion or forgiveness. I'm here to hand you my lantern and say, the path is walkable. Soft ground does return under your feet, though it may take a few miles. And when you're ready, you'll plant something, basil, on a window ledge, hope in a notebook, and watch it grow without asking permission. If this letter finds you on a night when the silence howls, brew a cup of whatever calms your bones. Open a blank page, and write one sentence of your own truth. Fold it, tuck it somewhere safe. Let that be the first brick in the house you'll build inside yourself. With steadiness from one survivor to another. Patricia, that was the letter I sent her. A woman I didn't know, whose post I stumbled on while scrolling through my granddaughter's old Facebook groups. Just a sentence or two. She said her son hadn't spoken to her in 3 years, that she'd stopped setting a place for him at the table. I don't know if she ever wrote back. Didn't expect her to. Sometimes what we need isn't advice or a plan. Sometimes we just need proof that someone else made it through, that the pain didn't get the final word. Maybe she read it, maybe she didn't, but I needed to say it. And now, maybe you need to hear it too. I have lived a lifetime with these calloused hands, holding together the cracks in this roof, nursing my fevered child through endless nights, gasping for breath through days no one cared enough to ask about. But the most painful part hasn't been poverty, or even widowhood. It's the moment I realized the very children I once cradled in my arms had become strangers, willing to twist the truth, invent lies, and steal what I spent my whole life saving. After everything I've been through, there's one thing I want to say to you. Yes, you, still watching this video. Love does not mean enduring forever. Sacrifice does not mean surrender. Being a mother does not mean endlessly forgiving ingratitude. Sometimes, love needs boundaries. Sometimes, love needs pride. I regret nothing I've given, but I refuse to let them keep taking. I choose to live the rest of my life for myself, for the peace I deserve. And if you were me, if you knew your own child was plotting to declare you mentally incompetent just to seize your property, if your belongings started vanishing from your home like you were already dead, what would you do? Would you forgive? Or would you rise? I want to hear your honest thoughts. Leave a comment below this video, because your voice matters.